Feng Wusheng left unwillingly and took away all the troops. Before leaving, he did not forget to stare at Yi Ming, his eyes full of resentment. Yi Ming came to Lingzhou because he wanted to see the results of giving money to the people. Feng Wusheng left so that he could move more freely. On the most remote island in Lingzhou, there used to be dozens of families living here, and every family made a living from fishing, barely enough to eat and wear. In the previous war, most of the people on the island died and escaped. But now, new courtyards have been rebuilt on the island, and the population has returned to its previous size. Yi Ming appeared on the island, and at the entrance of the village, he stopped a very old man. The old man was at least 90 years old, and his movements were somewhat limited. He seemed to just come out to bask in the sun. The old man was very kind, and even treated Yi Ming as a passing guest, inviting him to come in for a drink. Yi Ming declined the old man politely, and only asked, "Old man, your local life is good. Every family builds new houses. Have you made a fortune from fishing?" The old man laughed aloud. "What's the matter with making a fortune? If fishing can make a fortune, we wouldn't just renovate the house until today. Boy, let me tell you the truth, it was Hoshan who taught us a new life." Yi Ming asked deliberately, "Heoqianzhao, isn't that a cult?" The old man suddenly became unhappy, and said, "Young man, why are you talking nonsense at such a young age? Some time ago, people from the Qinglong dynasty burned, killed and looted, making the people miserable. It was the people from the Hoshan sect who gave us money and things, and let us live again. Stable life. If it weren't for the Hoshan sect, I might have died long ago, and I can still live in the present to enjoy the blessings. Moreover, the Hoshan sect said that the end of the world will appear in the future, and the big snake bite Gu will eat everyone. But we don't have to worry, Hoshan church helps us get rid of the big snake." Yi Ming was very satisfied with the old man's thoughts, and he went to other places. As a result, he found that the power of money is really powerful, and more than 90% of the people are grateful to Heoqianzhao, and they firmly believe that Heoqianzhao will definitely lead everyone on the road to happiness and well-being. It seems that this method is feasible. He said to Feng Shi, "Money can pass through gods, let alone people. As long as you have enough wealth, you can even buy the entire Tianyuan continent." Yi Ming thought for a while, and said, "Money is not a problem. The resources of any martial god are enough for hundreds of millions of ordinary people to live for a lifetime. However, the current situation is very complicated, and Heoqianzhao may not have a chance. You can make the current situation more chaotic, and you can find opportunities in the chaotic." Feng Shi said, "You can tell the ambitions of Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu to the four great gods, and at the same time let the gods know." Yi Ming rubbed his hands together, and said, "The situation must be extremely chaotic. The God Lord will find a way to get out of control, and the God Earth will go directly to Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu. But in this way, I feel a little sorry for Shui Wanzhi. Even if you don't say it, the divine land will definitely notice it. People at the longevity level have wisdom like an ocean, and it's only a matter of time before they see the changes of all things." Feng Shi said, "Maybe they already knew it, but they just haven't been sure yet. Just do what you say." Yi Ming passed the news to the Lord of the Temple through the token of the temple for the second time. Compared with the last time, the Lord of the Temple was very indifferent this time, saying, "We have already noticed this matter, Yi Ming, the four great gods should thank you, you let us take the initiative." Yi Ming said quickly, "It is the disciples' job to protect the interests of the temple." "Well said." The voice of the Lord of the Temple was very happy, "But you will be rewarded for your merits. Whatever you want, just say it." Yi Ming was about to say that no reward was needed, but Feng Shi secretly said, "Tell him, you need to participate in the study of the Penghu statue." Yiming knew that Fengxi would not harm him, so he didn't think about it, and said, I heard that there is a statue of Panji Yu in our temple. Oh, you actually know about the statue of Pangu? The master of the temple was very surprised. The statue of Pangu is a natural god stone. After the fall of the human ancestor Pangu, it was born by the induction of heaven and earth. It is no small matter. But, what do you want it for? Yiming, the disciple is thinking, can you use it to refine the gods? The master of the temple was silent for a moment, and said, when you become a martial god, use it to condense your god form. It's not bad, but no one has ever done this before. Are you sure you want it? Yiming, yes, the disciple is sure. The lord of the temple sighed softly. You probably also know that the human ancestor who disintegrated the ancestral continent is Pangu, and he is the savior of the human race. You must worship the Pangu god statue sooner or later, and you must not take it lightly. Yiming was surprised. It turned out that the great man's name was Panji Yu. He quickly said, disciple understands. When you return to the temple, you will naturally see the statue of Pangu. I hope you can really succeed in cultivating the god. After finishing speaking, the master of the temple fell silent. Only then did Yiming have time to ask, Fengxi, why do you want that Panji Yu statue? Fengxi smiled and said, there is only one statue of Pangu, and it is in the Temple of Immortality. A long time ago, I read a passage in an ancient book, which said that some secrets of the ancestor Pangu may be hidden in the statue. Yiming shrugged. I'm afraid the ancient book is unreliable, but it doesn't matter. Inviting Pangu to his home and worshipping him every day can be regarded as admiration for him. Fengxi said, I let you get the statue, actually there is another reason. What reason? Ren Zhu accepted a few disciples back then, and after Ren Zhu fell, those disciples also disappeared. But I feel that they must still be alive. Yiming was taken aback. The disciple of Ren Zhu is still alive. Fengxi, and they must have entered the eternal realm, otherwise they wouldn't be able to live to this day. Yiming was shocked, and said, who are Ren Zhu's disciples? Why don't they form a super civilization? Ren Zhu has 3 disciples, namely Fengxi, Nuwa, and Shenong. What you call super civilization, they have actually tried it a long time ago. They are the 3 emperors' great world you know. What? The great world of the 3 sovereigns was established by the disciples of Ren Zhu. Yiming was greatly surprised, not expecting it at all. Feng Exidao, Fengxi is the emperor of heaven, Shenong is the emperor of the earth, and Nuwa is the emperor of the people. The world of the 3 emperors once became a super civilization, but it soon declined because the 3 emperors suddenly disappeared. The successor 3 emperors, the strength if it is far from reaching the eternal state, it will naturally be impossible to create the main god. Yiming, the 3 emperors disappeared. Where did they go? No one knows. Fengxi said, some people speculate that the 3 emperors went to find Panji Yu. Looking for Pangu. Yiming was taken aback. Didn't Pangu fall? It is said that there is still a human head in Pangu, which was sealed by a foreign race. The 3 emperors wanted to find it and create a powerful main god instead. There are also rumors that the 3 emperors went to retreat to practice hard, to prepare for the future catastrophe of the human race. Fengxi said, there are many theories, but there is no way to know the truth. Yiming suddenly remembered that the huge head he saw in Xuantian Great World, does it have anything to do with Pangu's head? Or, is it the head of Pangu? Thinking of this, he had the urge to enter the Xuantian Great World immediately. Okay, don't think too much. Fengxi smiled, you still have a long way to go, the most urgent thing is to improve your strength. If I read correctly, you are only a supernatural martial soul, and you are still far away from the magic martial soul. There are 108,000 miles. Yiming nodded. I want to practice more supernatural powers, so I was delayed for some time. Feng Shi nodded. That's true. The stronger the supernatural power, the greater the achievements in the future. During this period, you can practice with peace of mind. I will help you with the matters taught by Hoshan. Yiming was very happy, and said, okay. Once the matter in Lingzhou is over, we will go back to the headquarters and give you a deputy leader to do it. Feng Shi chuckled. Vice leader. Isn't it equal to you? Yiming grinned. You and I are husband and wife, we should be equals. When mentioning husband and wife, Feng Shi was a little shy again, and said, it will take at least a few months to deal with the matter of Lingzhou, you might as well take this opportunity to practice, and I will take care of the rest. Yiming had this intention, and after some arrangements, he found a secluded place to retreat and practice, and Feng Shi took care of all the affairs of Lingzhou. As the eldest princess, Feng Shi has much more experience in governing the world than Yiming, and everything is handled in an orderly manner. In less than a month, Lingzhou was full of vitality and gradually became prosperous. At this moment, Lingzhou has become the territory of the Hoshan sect, and the Qinglong dynasty has completely lost its rule over it at the same time. Yiming is practicing Yangtian Chidi sword, which is the only sword technique he has not practiced among the 5 swordsmanship. The 5 major sword scriptures are divided into the acquired 6th level and the innate 3rd level. The acquired 6 levels are sword intent, sword heart, sword soul, sword spirit, sword world, and sword god. He has all cultivated to the sword soul stage in the first 4 sword scriptures. With his previous experience, he also cultivated the Yangtian Chidi sword to the 3rd level of the sword soul in just a few days by relying on the 8-element calculation array. So far, he has finally practiced all of the 5 great swordsmanship. Outside of his pure yang martial soul, there are 5 colorful sword lights that are endlessly alive, extremely sharp and indestructible. I have to complete all the acquired and 6th levels of the 5 great swordsmanship, and it is possible to combine them into one after stepping into the innate 3rd level. In other words, only at the level of the god of war can I cultivate the supernatural power of the 5 elements to kill life. Yiming somewhat it's a pity that this 5-element killing technique is the 6th ranked supernatural power on the list of supernatural powers, and its power is incredible. That's the next best thing to do, and cultivate the 8th ranked Punisher finger. He secretly said to himself. To practice the god-killing finger, one must practice the god-killing sword formation. The god-killing sword formation consists of 4 sets of sword techniques, namely the god-killing sword technique, the god-killing sword technique, the god-trapping sword technique, and the god-absolute sword technique. Yiming has cultivated the Zushan swordsmanship to the 5th level, and next, he will complete the other 3 swordsmanship. As the saying goes, one knows everything, and the practice of the 5-element sword art has given him an extraordinary understanding of swordsmanship. Coupled with the powerful 8-element arithmetic formation, these 3 swordsmanship are almost all accomplished overnight. On the first day, he mastered the sword technique of killing gods, on the second day, he mastered the sword technique of trapping gods. All 4 sets of swordsmanship have been cultivated to the 5th level. After some deduction, Yiming faintly feels that the 5 sets of swordsmanship can be combined into one. The god-killing sword technique, the god-slaying sword technique, the god-trapping sword technique, and the absolute god sword technique respectively derived a sword ban. At this moment, the 4 major sword bans began to quickly disintegrate, and slowly merged under the calculation of the 8-element array, evolving in the direction of killing gods and banning swords. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a full 9 days later, the 4 major sword bans were completely merged into one, and turned into a sword ban with 1,000 bans. That sword is radiant, unparalleled in sharpness, and faintly possesses supernatural powers. Yiming was overjoyed. He knew that compared with the 5-element sword code, the Zushan sword formation was more suitable for setting up killing formations, and it was easier to evolve into supernatural powers. He continued to calculate with the 8-element array, and after more than 20 days, a shiny and transparent supernatural power seed appeared, which was the 8th-ranked supernatural finger on the supernatural power list. At this moment, Yiming opened his eyes, stretched his fingers towards the sky, electricity was generated in the void, and hundreds of millions of sword glows were generated out of thin air, interwoven into killing runes, condensed into a supreme killing array, blocking the 4 poles, and cutting off the 8 dimensions. As soon as he pointed it out, Feng Shi was alarmed and asked in surprise, "What kind of supernatural power is this?" Yiming, Zhu Shenji. Feng Shi said, "Your supernatural powers are very lethal. I'm afraid that no one at the same level will be your enemy." Yiming would not be so conceited, and said, "There are countless strong people in the world, and it's not easy to meet powerful people. When will I condense my magic spirit? Will I dare to have this idea? Do you want to continue practicing supernatural powers?" Feng Shi asked. Yiming nodded. "I have several sets of God-level exercises on me. I want to try them out and see if I can refine my supernatural powers." Feng Shi nodded. "All right. The supernatural powers that I comprehend by myself are called primitive supernatural powers by warriors. Compared with the supernatural powers spawned by using supernatural power seeds, they are more powerful, and are also beneficial to future practice." During the period when Feng Shi was helping to manage it, Yiming rarely had such a leisure time, so he simply focused on his practice. He first refined a powerful supernatural power from the art of moving flowers and trees, called the Great Puppet Art, which can directly control a person's spiritual will and make him a puppet clone. After that, he extracted the Lingtian One-Strike magical power from Lingtian Shengong, the Zhou-Tian Sword Wheel magical power extracted from Great Zhou-Tian Sword Art, and finally several god-level kung fu from the book world. Stealing the Sky Divine Art and Blood Shadow Divine Art, from which he extracted the magical power of Stealing Heaven Claw and Bloodlight Killing respectively. It took Yiming more than a month to refine the above supernatural powers, but this speed is already against the sky. Thanks to his 8-element arithmetic, otherwise it would be impossible to refine even one supernatural power. Just as he was about to stop, a large amount of Blood Clan information that he had absorbed in the Blood River suddenly emerged. In a flash, Yiming knew that he could extract 3 extremely powerful supernatural powers. However, he didn't like the Blood Clan supernatural power very much, so he pressed it immediately and didn't practice. But immediately, another primitive and ancient memory rose up, pushing aside the memory of the blood race. Yiming was very confused about this ancient memory. Where did it come from? But he soon understood that this memory came from the blood of the huge head of the Xuantian Great World, and the other party's blood contained a lot of information. "I understand. The civilization of the Blood Clan is all stored in the blood. The head must have practiced similar exercises before he was alive, and the blood also contains a huge amount of information. But I haven't practiced the Blood Clan exercises seriously. For the time being it cannot be extracted." Thinking of this, he decided to formally practice Blood Clan exercises in order to reveal the identity and secrets of the head, which he subconsciously felt was very important. Just as Yiming was cultivating without knowing black and white, the situation in Tianyuan continent was changing. The conspiracy of Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu was known to Shantu and the 5 dynasties, and the major forces immediately took action. In Shui Wanzher's heavenly palace, a man in white clothes appeared. He looked very young, but his eyes were very vicissitudes. Beside him, there is a young woman in red. Her appearance is extremely beautiful, even Shui Wanzher can't match her. They are Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu. The faces of both of them are a bit blurred. It is not the real body coming, but the projection of the mind. Shui Wanzher lowered her head, looking very aggrieved. "Father, it's my fault," Shui Wanzher said. "I shouldn't have told the matter. If you don't tell me, they will know sooner or later. The young man didn't blame Shui Wanzhi, it's nothing about the divine soil. No matter how hard they force me, they dare not do anything. It's the divine master, I don't know how he will behave himself. Place. Shui Lingyu, the god fetus has been controlled by us. What can he do? There is no turning back when he shoots the bow. He has no way to retreat, so he can only walk with us. The divine lord's reliance is the divine fetus. Without the divine fetus, all his wishes would come to naught, and that kind of blow would be worse than killing him. So even if he knew that he was making a wedding dress for someone else, he still couldn't stop. If he stopped, he would lose all hope. Shui Wanzhi, will the divine master jump over the wall in a hurry and do irrational things? As soon as these words came out, Yuan Shantian fell silent and said, I still have to go and talk to him in person. When Shui Wanzhi's family gathered together, in the secret room of Haotu dynasty, the divine master was sitting upright with no expression on his face. In front of him was the Golden Prince and the core of the Golden Guards, including Zanyi and the Tomb Guard. God Lord, we must stop, we are just making wedding dresses for others. The gravekeeper sighed, very discouraged. The Golden Prince also said, yes, Father, let's just throw away the divine fetus and think of other ways. The ministers also tried to persuade each other, but the Almighty did not respond. After everyone finished speaking, he said, you think, I don't know that this is a trap set by others. Everyone was shocked, God knows. Zanyi said, since the God Lord knows, why did he let things happen? The God Master sneered, my goal is the God fetus, so naturally I have to use the plan. Although the God fetus was secretly refined by Yuan Shantian and his wife, it is not impossible to expel them. I have already cultivated the skill of transferring flowers and trees to the state of immortality. With the power of the 5 elements blood sacrifice, it is not difficult to regain control of the divine fetus. Everyone was overjoyed, and the Golden Prince said, what? Father has already cultivated the art of transferring flowers and trees to the extreme. The God Master nodded. When you reach the realm of immortality, you can activate the immortal form, occupy the consciousness of the divine fetus, and drive Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu away. But for the 5 elements blood sacrifice, since there are immortals and a large number of strangers, strangers are easy to find, so where can we find immortals? The Golden Prince wondered. The God Master said indifferently, at the beginning, didn't I trap the 5 great emperors in the god's womb? I just used them as blood. As for the living, let the 5 dynasties prepare 200 million virgins. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. Each dynasty had 200 million, wouldn't the 5 major dynasties have to prepare 1 billion? Even though Zanyi was ruthless, he showed shock on his face. God, do billions of people want blood sacrifice? In order to achieve a great cause, sacrifices are unavoidable. The Divine Master said indifferently, Zanyi, you should do it immediately. You must act quickly and secretly. Zanyi took the order to go, and the 5 dynasties and countless secret forces took action to plunder a large number of boys and girls, and then sent them to the Haotu dynasty continuously through the teleportation array, and then they were installed in the divine kingdom of the God Lord. But Yuan Shantian was talking to Shui Huang'er, when the Yishan palace suddenly shook, and an old voice sounded, Brother Yuan, long time no see, we are coming to visit. Yuan Shantian's expression remained unchanged, and he said indifferently, the Lord of the Divine Land is here, Yuan is honored. Please. 4 figures descended on Yishan Palace at the same time. Shui Wanzhi also bowed obediently in front of such big men, and then hid behind Shui Lingyu. The visitors are obviously mind projections. They are the masters of the 4 great gods and lands. If they come at the same time, there must be a big event. Yuan Shantian said, "We are old acquaintances, so let's talk straight." The lord of the temple said, "Brother Yuan is refreshing. We are here to talk to Brother Yuan about the divine fetus." Yuan Shantian said, "The divine fetus is controlled by me, so this matter has nothing to do with the divine land, right?" The lord of Shenshen said coldly, "If you control the divine fetus, don't you control the 5 great dynasties? If you control the 5 great dynasties, will you still put the sacred soil in your eyes? Do you think I put the sacred soil in my eyes now?" Yuan Shantian spoke in a choked voice, immediately making the masters of the 4 sacred soils very depressed. "Brother Yuan, if you insist on going your own way, the sacred land will never allow you." The master of the temple said, "Please don't make mistakes." Yuan Shantian laughed, "Haha, don't allow me. I'd like to see, why don't you allow me?" In an instant, a monstrous killing intent swept across the Yishan palace, and a force was rushing from infinite distance, locking the void. The master of the temple snorted coldly, "Yuan Shantian, are you going to attack us?" Yuan Shantian laughed wildly and said, "What kind of bullshit god soil? I have never paid attention to it. Today I will destroy your prestige." Arrogance. The Lord of the Divine Sea finally said, "Yuan Shantian, you have managed to get to this day, why are you so impulsive and put yourself in danger?" Shui Lingyu said at this time, "Master of the Divine Sea, our husband and wife's roots are not as shallow as the divine land. If we really want to conflict, you may not take advantage of it. The 2 sides are at war with each other, and they are about to clash." At this moment, in the direction of the Haotu dynasty, a bloody light shot up into the sky, shaking the world, and the terrifying power made the 6 immortal level powerhouses also change their colors. 5 elements blood sacrifice. What is he doing? Yuan Shantian had a foreboding and his expression was serious. At least 1 billion innocent people were sacrificed to the demons in an instant. The Lord of the Sea of God sighed, "The Lord of God has no way. Sacrifice makes me give birth." He probably wants to use the power of sacrifice to seize control of the divine fetus. Yuan Shantian immediately said, "I have to stop him. I'm afraid it's too late." Shui Lingyu smiled wryly. At the same time, the Divine Master had already activated the skill of moving flowers and connecting trees, borrowing the energy of the 5 elements blood sacrifice, and broke through the core of the divine fetus in one fell swoop. In his kingdom of God, the corpses of 1 billion virgins and virgins have been shriveled and weathered. Their blood and life force have all been sacrificed and died violently. In the divine womb, the 5 great emperors were also wrapped in the tyrannical evil energy. They screamed again and again, and gradually became dry and weathered, unable to resist at all. Under normal circumstances, who can stop me? The Divine Master laughed wildly, and a restriction in the divine fetus shattered. Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu, who were far away in the Yishan Palace in the West Sea, groaned at the same time, and opened their mouths to spit out a mouthful of blood. He was stunned for a moment, and then smiled bitterly, "I didn't expect that. The Divine Master actually had such a plan. At the cost of 1 billion lives and the lives of 5 great emperors, he forcibly expelled me." The faces of the 4 lords of the divine land changed greatly, and they didn't care to say much, and went directly to the Haotu dynasty. Yuan Shantian and Shui Lingyu looked at each other and sighed helplessly. "Father, what will happen next?" Shui Wanzhi couldn't help asking, "Will the divine land stop the divine master?" Yuan Shantian shook his head, "It's too late. The god fetus will be born through the power of blood sacrifice, and the god master will directly advance to the powerhouse of the 8 realms of longevity. It's not like we don't have a chance." Shui Lingyu said, "If the God Lord loses his way, he will inevitably be helpless, and he will not be able to obtain God's will." Yuan Shantian thought for a while, nodded and said, There is indeed a chance, and I don't know if they can seize this opportunity.
The How-To Imperial Palace. 4 brilliant divine lights descended from the sky, and it was obvious that 4 tall phantoms appeared, which were the lords of the 4 great divine lands. The Lord of the Divine Sea said loudly, "Are you really going against the sky?" A tyrannical aura spread in the palace, and then a bare hand protruded from the void. With a slight wave of it, a violent force locked on the scene, and the masters of the sacred land exploded one after another. Respond. After today, the 5 great dynasties will no longer exist, and I will rebuild the 5 elements God dynasty. Anyone who refuses to accept it will be killed without mercy. The voice of the God Master spread throughout every corner of the 5 elements God dynasty. At the same time, the forces of the Golden Guard in various dynasties moved quickly to integrate the 5 dynasties. However, the purpose of the Divine Lord has been exposed, and the 5 dynasties also know the news of the Emperor's murder, and the Tianyuan continent fell into chaos in an instant. Even if the Divine Lord is already a strong man in the 8th realm of longevity, there is nothing he can do in the face of this chaotic situation, and he can only slowly figure it out. Afterwards, all the holy lands, great religions, Kishan religion, and all the vassal states declared their independence from the 5 elements God dynasty and were not subject to restraint. Especially the princes and princes of the 5 dynasties set up their own families one after another. Almost overnight, the situation in Tianyuan continent changed drastically. Thieves and gangsters ran rampant, and the gangs that were once at the bottom immediately became active and grew rapidly. However, Yi Ming chose a blood clan's supreme skill called Shuiyuan Shenggong through the inheritance of the blood clan obtained from the Blood River, and 2 supporting martial arts, namely Blood Soldier's Ju and Blood Spirit Seal. The power is also powerful. The process of cultivating this blood primordial skill is the process of evolving blood. The initial blood is called mortal blood, and the above is called primordial blood, spiritual blood, true blood, holy blood, divine blood, original blood, and civilized blood. Big Realm. Yi Ming spent several days cultivating ordinary blood into primordial blood. The so-called primordial blood refers to blood with many effects. It can repair injuries by itself, and can also store its own life information. After achieving the primordial blood, he initially began to receive the information contained in the blood of the head. Suddenly, a ray of familiar information appeared, and he opened his eyes wide suddenly, and shouted, "It's the supreme skill." That's right, what he received at the first time was actually the Taisheng Supreme Kung Fu that he had practiced before. This supreme skill is very difficult to cultivate. In order to cultivate the power of the first heavy curse, he suffered 99 and 81 punishments. According to Wu Wujian, there are only 3 levels of Taisheng Jigong, but according to the new information he got, there are as many as 9 levels of Taisheng Jigong. 3 and 3 produce all things, and the 9-fold supreme Kung Fu is normal. He quickly calmed down and asked Wu Wujian, "Didn't your master back then know that this Kung Fu has 9 levels?" Intangible Sword was obviously very surprised. "Of course I don't know. In fact, it's useless to know. He only cultivated the first level, and he has no way to start with the second level." Yi Ming said with a smile, "That's because only the first level of the exercises he got is perfect, and the other 2 are incomplete. It's no wonder he can complete it." Invisible Sword. "Master, what kind of effect can this skill achieve when it reaches
Everyone
the
on the
9th
Dolua
level?"
continent
Yi
possesses
Ming
some.
thought for a while, and said, "It's indescribable. At the 6th level, one thought can make the big world come and go. It's very unpredictable. It's a pity that I haven't been
One
able to
fine
get too
day,
much
hidden deep
information.
within the fluffy white clouds, lay a
I don't
certain
know the
sect, 2
inheritance of
young
this
maidens,
practice.
holding
Now we can know
umbrellas,
the identity of
carefully
that
followed
head.
behind a young man. One of the
Congratulations,
maidens
Master.
gently
Then
spoke.
let's continue to
"This
practice."
senior
Wu
brother, may
Wujian
we
was
ask
very
how to
happy
get to
for
the
him,
Lan Xin
and
Hall?"
urged him again and
Suddenly,
again.
a few choices popped up in front of the young
At this
man.
moment,
First,
Fangxi broke in suddenly. Her face was very ugly, and she said when she met Yi Ming, something serious happened. Yi Ming hurriedly asked, "What happened?" The God Master went against the grain, not only killed the 5 great emperors, but also sacrificed 1 billion virgins and men and women, thus occupying the god's fetus. Now the four great gods have no choice but to attack him secretly, causing chaos in the Tianyuan continent, and many princes' countries and even cities have become self-reliant. In today's world, bandits are rampant, villains are everywhere, and there are countless ambitious people, and the people are completely living in dire straits. Yi Ming was not very surprised. He thought for a while and said, such a chaotic situation will not last long. Qi Shenjiao, Shentu, and God Lord, one of them must reunite the world. Who do you think is more important? Chance. Feng Exidao. Originally, the God Lord had the best chance, but he lost his way and had no help. The people in the world would not love him, so he naturally had no chance to get God's will. In comparison, the four great gods sit on the ground and throw away countless gods. There is a greater chance. But Qi Tianzhao should not be underestimated. Presumably there will be a big move, taking the opportunity to attack the city. Yi Ming nodded. These three forces will occupy an area of Tianyuan continent respectively, thus forming a three-legged situation. This situation will last for a period of time until a certain force is strong enough to break the balance. Or, an external force forcibly breaks this balance. Feng Shi sighed softly. Brother Huang has fallen, and the Qinglong dynasty is considered to be over. Yi Ming reassured. Even the Five Elements dynasty will perish, let alone the Qinglong dynasty. You don't have to worry about it, Feng Shi. I've finished the matter of Lingzhou for you. Right now, this place is the most comfortable and peaceful place. The common people all want to teach Hoshan. You can handle the rest by yourself. I'm going back to Qinglong dynasty. Help the Feng family restore the Azure Dragon dynasty. Yi Ming frowned. I'm afraid it will be extremely difficult to restore the Qinglong dynasty. At most, I can become a prince. Do your best. Feng Shi sighed. I'm always from the Feng family. Yi Ming, the current chaos is a rare opportunity for Hoshan sect. You have to seize it. Yi Ming nodded. I understand. Be careful here, don't conflict with the God Lord, and don't trust your people completely. After sending Feng Shi away, Yi Ming called Xiaoqiang to his side and said, Xiaoqiang, the world is in chaos right now, we must take action. Xiaoqiang, what's the master's plan? Making gods. Yi Ming said, absorb the beliefs of all people, so as to obtain the blessings of God's will and become the gods of Tianyuan. Who will do this? Me, Xiaoqiang asked in surprise. Yi Ming shook his head. No, I decided to let the crystal goddess come back. Xiaoqiang was very surprised. Isn't the crystal goddess running the Xuantian Great World? If she comes, what will happen over there? It's okay. I have contacted her. She has basically controlled the Xuantian Great World and has rich experience in governing the world. It is perfect for her to come. Yi Ming said, and her strength has improved rapidly, and she has already entered the immortal state. Xiaoqiang nodded. All right. The world is in chaos today, and the gods don't have time to take care of us wild gods. But master, where do we start? Of course from Lingzhou. Yi Ming said, there are 3 continents, 6 nests and 72 countries in the East China Sea. We must control them all, and then use them as the foundation to advance to the mainland. In this way, Yi Ming arranged everything while summoning the crystal goddess. There are 3 main things he has done. The first is to continue to use Lingzhou's methods to buy people's hearts with money. The headquarters was moved from Haotu dynasty to Lingzhou. The reason why Li Zongdu was created is because the Divine Lord regards the Hoshan cult as a thorn in his side, and will definitely do everything possible to remove it, as it is too dangerous to stay. Under the arrangement of Yi Ming and Xiaoqiang, the entire Hoshan sect started running quickly. First of all, the arrival of the crystal goddess shocked the East China Sea. On this day, the wind and the sun are beautiful, and there is no cloud in the sky. In the sky, a ray of divine light suddenly fell, and a goddess descended from the sky. The divine light was immeasurable and shone in all directions. Everyone who saw this scene heard the melodious divine voice, smelled the strange fragrance, and felt refreshed. The gods have descended to earth. Have ordinary people ever seen real gods? Excited, they rushed to tell each other. Everyone stood in an open place, staring at the goddess in the sky, and then knelt down one after another. The crystal goddess is still so pure and pure, so beautiful. As soon as she came, Yi Ming knew about it, and quickly dropped what he was doing, and stood among the crowd. He said via voice transmission, "Xiao Jing, give each of the people of Lingzhou a Fadian coin." The crystal goddess nodded slightly, and lightly waved her jade hand, and billions of divine lights flew down from the sky to everyone's hands. At the next moment, everyone in Lingzhou had an extra Fadian god spirit coin in their hands. The common people were overjoyed, and bowed down to the Crystal Girls' Society one after another, thanking him for his gift. Xiao Jing, it's up to you. How to collect beliefs and govern the people. You have more experience than me, Yi Ming said. If you use money, just ask. The crystal goddess smiled slightly and said, "My honorable master, I have opened the entrance to the treasure world of Xuantian Great World, and I have obtained a lot of wealth from it, which is enough for my needs." Yi Ming was surprised. "What? You opened the entrance to Baoji? How did you get it?" Crystal goddess. "It's also just succeeded, and I haven't had time to tell the master in the future. The treasure world has a huge harvest. If it is converted into the growth and life god coins, it will be more than 300 trillion. Yi Ming almost jumped up. One longevity coin can be exchanged for 36,000 Fadian coins, and more than 300 trillion longevity coins. Isn't it more than 1 billion Fadian coins? When will so much money be spent? Okay, very good. Yi Ming suppressed the excitement in his heart, and looked very calm on the surface. With this money, we can do great things. The surprise brought by the crystal goddess was obviously more than this one. She continued, "Master, during the time I was in the Xuantian Great World, I trained a group of capable subordinates. This time, I brought a group of subordinates to Tianyuan so that manage Houshan Secto. This is the best. How many people did you bring?" Yi Ming asked hurriedly. "There are not many people, only about 100,000. But they are all elites in the Xuantian Great World, and dozens of them have reached the level of gods." The crystal goddess said, "With their help, the master's great cause can be achieved." Expect. Yi Ming didn't expect Xiao Jing's help to be so great. He was in a good mood, and said, "Okay, I will give you the full power to take care of the matter of Heoqianzhao, and Xiaoqiang will also listen to you in the future." Xiaoqiang was a little unconvinced, and said, "Master, you can't value sex over old, but she has followed Master from the beginning. Why is she not as good as this girl who arrived late?" Yi Ming was taken aback by the words. He glanced at Xiao Jing, who was pleasing to the eye, and then at Xiaoqiang, who was like a fool, then stared and said, "Shut up." Yi Ming really handed over all the affairs of Heoqianzhao to the crystal goddess, and Xiaoqiang became Sasuke's helper. With the hundreds of thousands of governance backbones brought by the crystal goddess, coupled with her rich experience, Yi Ming was naturally very relieved. After explaining something, he patted his ass and left. For the development of Heoqianzhao, he only needs to point out the big policy, and the rest is all for Xiao Jing to decide on his own, and he doesn't ask. Right now, all he has to do is to go around the Tianyuan continent to see what it looks like, so as to guide his future actions. The first place Yi Ming was going to was Qishanzhao, and he went there with the appearance of Long Xiaobai. His previous identity of Ji Wuju is still undercover in front of Houshan sect, so of course he can't use it. The reason why he directly uses Long Xiaobai's identity now is that once he gains the power of Long Xiaobai, it will be of great help to the development of Houshan sect. Before he set off, he had already made a plan in his heart. Step by step was very delicate, and there must be good results. Back on Qishan Island, the first person Yi Ming wanted to meet was Mu Wuxuang. Through the messenger talisman, he invited Lu Wuxuang to a beach outside Qishanzhao. Mu Wuxuang looked very tired and seemed to be under great mental pressure. But he was very happy to see Yi Ming. "Wu Ju, when did you come back?" In her memory, Yi Ming should have gone to Heoqianzhao as an undercover agent, and he shouldn't be back at this time. Yi Ming smiled and said, "I'm coming back to do something, and I'll be leaving soon. Princess, I want to ask you for help." Mu Wushwang smiled and said, as long as I can do it, I will never refuse. Mu Wushwang was very interesting, and agreed to Yi Ming's request without hesitation. After the two parties broke up, the maid walked out from behind Mu Wushwang, and she said, Princess, he's gone too far, do you want to? Mu Wushwang waved his hands. His expression became unparalleled and serious. What do you know? His potential is far higher than any genius I know. No matter what request he asks, I will agree. But princess, if he has unreasonable thoughts, how will you deal with it? The maid was very worried. Mu Wushwang smiled lightly. If he really likes me, I'm too happy, how can I refuse? The maid was stunned. In her eyes, the princess was easy to get close to on the surface, but she was actually very aloof. Even the geniuses of the four great gods were never in her eyes. Of course, the maid knew the reason. The princess had lived in the great world of the three sovereigns and had seen real geniuses. How could the so-called geniuses in the Tianyuan continent be ignored? However, she actually respects Ji Wuju so much now, it is really incomprehensible. Yi Ming regained Long Xiaobai's appearance, and then went to the Niplo Hall with his identity token. In the Mud Plow Hall, there is a remarkable person imprisoned. To be precise, it is a monster. Tianyuan 9 demons are ranked 3rd, and the toad spirit of the 3rd realm of longevity. When Yi Ming changed his appearance and approached Neely Hall, he was ordered not to approach by the guards of the hall just like last time. He was standing 100 steps away, secretly contacting the frog spirit. Soon, the voice rang out. Little friend, you are finally back. I thought you had broken your promise. Yi Ming sneered. I changed my appearance. How do you know it's me? In my eyes, everyone's aura is unique. Toad Jing said, have you practiced Da Luo's magical skills? Yi Ming, I haven't practiced yet. However, I have decided to help you escape. Help me escape? Toad Jing was surprised. Little friend trusts me so much. Yi Ming, I'll help you escape, but you have to do me a favor too. Please speak. Toad Jing said hastily. My real identity is the son of the leader of Qishan. But my identity is now being replaced by someone else. I hope you can help me rectify my name after you escape. Yi Ming said, the son of the leader of Qishan holds great power. At that time, I can pardon your crimes and even make you an important minister in Qishan sect. How about it? You should think about it carefully. Toad Jing wondered. You are a Taibai's son. Are you serious? Is there still a fake? I won't joke about my life. At that time, all you need to do is to recognize relatives by blood, and that fake will definitely show up, Yi Ming said, and you helped me, my father will never die again. Embarrassing for you. Toad Jing laughed loudly, ha, and said, God helped me. Little friend, no, young master, this matter is on me, I have a way to make that fake appear. Toad Jing said excitedly, Yi Ming, don't be happy, how can I save you out? Toad Jing said, it's simple, the young master just needs to break into the Mud Plow Hall, and I will hold the young master hostage and let these people use the mouse. And then, can you escape? Yi Ming asked. Of course not, Toad Jing said, I will alarm a Taibai, as long as he shows up, your identity will be easily confirmed. Yi Ming thought about it, and felt that this method was reliable, and said, okay, let's do this. However, young master, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to break into the Mud Plow Hall. The people guarding the hall are all gods. Toad's spirit became worried. Yi Ming smiled and said, it's okay, I have my own way. Then, he took out another token from his waist, and walked straight over with it. This token is the fake Long Xiaobai's warrant, which Yi Ming deliberately asked Mu Wushwang to fetch. At the same time, he also changed into the image of Long Xiaobai. When the young leader arrived, the people guarding the temple came out to welcome him. Yi Ming flashed the warrant and said, I want to see that toad spirit. The guards of the temple persuaded. Young master, be careful, this monster is good at deceiving people's hearts, don't follow its way. It's okay, I have my own means to deal with it. Yi Ming waved his hand, ignored the warning of the palace guard, and walked in directly. The mud plow hall is divided into 2 layers, inside and outside. The inside layer is made of talisman steel. There is a large guard formation, which is extremely strong. Even if the people inside are all powerful, it is impossible to escape. Opening the door of Fu Gong's inner hall, Yi Ming saw a gigantic toad that was nailed through its limbs by a rune and nailed to a thick Fu Gong wall. It was very embarrassing. The toad was taller than a human being, with its limbs stretched out. It was as big as a double bed. Young master laughed, "My current posture is very indecent." Toad spit out the words. Yi Ming stepped forward and pulled out a few talisman nails, and then asked, "Now you are free." Toad Jing turned into a middle-aged man with a blue face, raised his hand and pressed Yi Ming's head, and said loudly, "Your young leader is in my hands, I will kill him." The guards of the temple had just walked in at this time, and they were stunned when they saw this scene. What's going on? Why was the young master kidnapped as soon as he came in? How did this monster do it? Why is the stud ineffective against him? However, they don't have time to think about this now. They must rescue the young leader, otherwise the leader will blame him, and they can't afford to walk around. Yaohe, don't make yourself mistaken. If you dare to touch a single hair of the young master, the Qixin sect will surely tear you to pieces. A guard of the temple sternly shouted loudly. Toad Jing laughed wildly, "Ha ha. I'll say it again, let a Teibai come to see me, otherwise I will kill this kid." The person guarding the temple had no choice but to send a message to a Teibai. At this moment, a Teibai was playing chess with a gray-haired husband in blue. Suddenly his eyebrows trembled, he threw a chess piece, and said, "Old Jian, there is a small matter to be resolved, I will come as soon as I go." The old man said with a smile, "Young leader has been kidnapped, this matter is difficult, I will go with you." The door of the mud plow hall opened by itself, and a Teibai and an old man appeared like ghosts. Toad Jing became very nervous immediately, and shouted, "A Teibai, don't act recklessly. Your son is in my hands." A Teibai said coldly, "My son? Are you sure?" Toad Jing said, "Isn't it? My son is obviously still in his palace." A Teibai said lightly, then he looked at Yi Ming and asked, "Who are you? How dare you pretend to be my son?" Yi Ming's eyes were slightly red, and he said, "Father, I am Long Xiaobai, and that Long Xiaobai is a fake." A Teibai's expression remained unchanged, and he asked, "You said you are Long Xiaobai. How can you prove it?" Yi Ming said lightly, "It's very simple, please recognize your father's blood. And let that fake Long Xiaobai confront him." "No need." Ah Teibai said, "When I first met Xiaobai, I had checked his bloodline, it is indeed my flesh and blood." Yi Ming sighed and said, "Then, father, please call my mother." A Teibai hesitated for a moment, but nodded in agreement. A while later, Long Wanner appeared in the hall. She was very surprised when she saw Long Xiaobai, and asked a Teibai, "Teibai, what's going on?" A Teibai explained briefly, and then asked, "If you have anything to say, you can say it." Yi Ming looked at Long Wanner and said, "Mother, do you still remember what I told you that day in Long's cell?" Long Wanner nodded. "Of course I remember. Are you really Xiaobai?" Yi Ming sighed. "Mother, please call the fake dragon Xiaobai over, I want to confront him face to face." Long Wanner glanced at A Teibai, and the latter waved his sleeve, and the fake Long Xiaobai was moved from the palace to the scene. The fake dragon Xiaobai was puzzled at first, but when he saw Yi Ming who was exactly like him, his expression changed slightly. A Teibai asked calmly, "Xiaobai, this person says you are a fake, he is the real Long Xiaobai." The fake dragon Xiaobai snorted, "He's talking nonsense. When I met my father, I did a blood test, how could it be fake?" Yi Ming sighed. "It's not difficult to change the blood." The fake dragon Xiaobai said angrily, "Where did you come from? How dare you pretend to be yourself? Come on, kill me. Slow down." A Teibai raised his hand and asked the fake dragon Xiaobai, "Do you remember what your mother said to you that day?" The fake dragon Xiaobai was stunned. "Speak." When Long Wanner's heart moved, and she said, Xiaobai, when you were in Long's house, you went to see me in the cell and talked about you and Grandpa, don't you remember? False Dragon Xiaobai said repeatedly, Of course I haven't forgotten. But who still remembers what I said at the beginning? Long Wanner's delicate body trembled slightly. She looked at Yi Ming and asked, What about you? Do you really remember? Seeing the pity in her eyes, Yi Ming thought of his parents for a moment, his eyes turned red, and he slowly recounted the conversation in the dungeon. My dear son, don't you hate your mother? Xiaobai was ignorant before, but now I understand. Mother, don't be angry with me, mother. Can you tell me, who is father? How did you get to know each other?
Mother, it's okay if you don't want to say it, Xiaobai. It's not that mother doesn't want to tell you, but she's worried that you know his situation, which won't benefit you. Mother, I talked to my grandfather a lot before. Don't worry, no matter who my father is, I can accept it. My Xiaobai has grown up. Okay, mother will tell you. Mother, what did father do? I don't know. He looked very anxious at the time and said some ominous words to me. It is said that this time, he will either fly into the sky or die without a burial. From his few words, he should live in the A huge power. And that power is engaged in a brutal power struggle, and he is also a party to the struggle. Mother, what if father doesn't come back? What will you do? I've been waiting for 17 years. Is it still 3 years away? It would be best if he could come back. If he can't come back, I will go to him. I want to see people when I live, and I want to see the dead body when I die. Yi Ming said the original dialogue word for word, and then asked Atabai, Father, you came to Tianyuan continent under the pseudonym, Shang Wuliang, and killed Venerable Kai Hua. Mother, how do we get to know each other? Atabai's face was extremely ugly. He asked Long Wanner, Wanner, have you said these words? Long Wanner nodded vigorously. There is nothing wrong, word for word is correct. A practitioner has an amazing memory, not to mention that it was the first heart-to-heart conversation between their mother and child after they hadn't seen each other for a long time, so naturally the memory is deep. Atabai stared at the fake dragon Xiaobai, and asked, Xiaobai, why did you forget what you said? The fake dragon Xiaobai was sweating on his forehead, and said loudly, Father, you must not listen to this kid's nonsense. All this is fabricated by him. Mother must be confused. Why did I ever say these words? Atabai smiled, ignored him, and asked Yi Ming, what evidence do you have? Yi Ming didn't answer, but asked Long Wanner, Mother, do you remember the child practicing Dragon God Ju? Long Wanner nodded. Your grandfather mentioned it, saying that you entered the country very quickly and possessed a very pure blood of a real dragon. Obviously, she already regarded Yi Ming as Long Xiaobai. Yi Ming nodded. That's right. I have practiced dragon god art and made great achievements. After saying that, he released the blood of the real dragon, and the domineering aura surged in the air, and a real dragon flew across the sky, engulfing the starry sky. Long Wanner's eyes were bright, and she said happily, That's right, you are my mother's Xiaobai. Brush. The fake dragon Xiaobai knew his love was exposed, and he escaped from the hall like lightning, and was about to escape. He obviously fled hundreds of miles away, but a tyrannical force chased him from behind. He couldn't help himself, and was pulled back to the hall again. Atai asked impatiently, Say, who are you? Who sent you here? What is your purpose? The fake dragon Xiaobai looked terrified. He wanted to cut off his heart, but found that his body and mind were imprisoned, and he had no chance to commit suicide. Tabai, I will interrogate this person slowly later. Xiaobai just came back, and I have a lot to say to him. Long Wanner advised. With a wave of his sleeve, Atabai took the fake dragon Xiaobai into the kingdom of God and imprisoned him, then smiled slightly and said, My boy, are you colluding with this great god? Yi Ming took the body of the real dragon, and went up to pay homage. Xiaobai met his father. Mother. Father and mother, Wanan. Get up. Long Wanner helped him up with a smile. I was wondering why my son didn't kiss me, it turned out to be a fake. Yi Ming scratched his head and said, Father, mother. I knew that someone was pretending to be me, but I couldn't expose him. So I asked this god of clams to help me, and asked my father to come forward and confront him face to face. The toad spirit nodded again and again. That's right. The young leader is extremely clever, and he came up with this good idea. Atabai, great god, you killed my disciple back then, and today you saved my son's life. Your crimes have been wiped out from now on. If you are willing, you can work with Xiaobai from now on. Master Ha was overjoyed, and said, thank you brother for your kindness, I am willing to follow the young master. Atabai smiled and asked Yi Ming, Xiaobai, you actually have the blood of a real dragon. I am very happy for you as a father. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission, Xiaobai, my father's real name is Wu Liang, Atabai is just a pseudonym, there are some things, my father will tell you later. Yi Ming was taken aback, thinking that there was something else going on, but he didn't ask any more questions, just nodded. You are new to the Qixin sect, and there are many things that you are not clear about. You have gradually become familiar with them in the past few days. Atabai waved his hand after speaking, where is the blood guard? A bloody light escaped from the void and appeared beside Atabai. In the bloody light, there is a faint figure, very faint and unclear. Master. A voice came from the shadow of blood. From now on, the blood guards will be ordered by Xiaobai. Atabai issued an order. Xiaobai's order is the order of a leader. Yes, this subordinate understands. After today, all the blood guards will only obey the orders of the young master and the master. Atabai nodded, and said to Yi Ming, Xiaobai. This blood guard is newly formed and has a strong fighting power. It will be under your control from now on. After Yi Ming thanked Atabai, the latter left, and Yi Ming and Long Wanner returned to the palace together. Yi Ming is quite close to Long Wanner in his heart, almost treating her like a mother. In fact, deep down in his heart, he was willing to do some filial piety for Long Xiaobai. The mother and son talked all the way, and had dinner together before saying goodbye to each other. After seeing Long Wanner off, Yi Ming came to the study. This used to be the residence of the fake dragon Xiaobai, and all the affairs he managed were well documented in the study. Now, as the young leader, he naturally needs to have a deeper understanding of Qixinjiao. The great god Toad was waiting outside the room, officially becoming Yi Ming's follower. After reading it once, Yi Ming knew it in his heart. It was already early in the morning, and he said, Blood Guard. A bloody light appeared, and the leader of the Blood Guard arrived, Young Master. Yi Ming, Blood Guard, what's your name? How many people are there under your command? How strong are you? Zhu Wei said. Subordinate Ouyang Wud, loved by the leader, was able to practice the Demon Blood Sutra and refine the Demon Blood Baby. Yi Ming was taken aback. Are you Ouyang Wud? The young master recognizes the villain. Ouyang Wud was a little surprised. Yi Ming smiled and said, You don't remember. You went to Jianqi to find me back then. Ouyang Wud slapped his head. Yes. The young master has a good memory. He continued, Young master. There are currently more than 300 blood guards, and 36 of them have condensed the Demon Blood Baby, and their strength is about the same as that of the new martial arts. As for the rest, most of them are martial saints. Cultivation. Yi Ming had been inherited by the Blood Clan, so he asked, What kind of exercises do you practice? Returning to the young master, what we are practicing is Blood Demon Art. After speaking, he briefly explained the training process of the Blood Demon Art. After hearing this, Yi Ming shook his head and said, This blood demon skill is a quick method. It seems powerful, but its potential is actually limited. Ouyang Wud said, Young Master Haoyan, this exercise is indeed flawed. Yi Ming thought for a while, I'll find you a more suitable Blood Clan Kung Fu later on. Ouyang Wud was taken aback, looking for a suitable exercise. Where to find it? He didn't take this seriously, thinking that Yi Ming said it casually and didn't take it to heart. After the Blood Guard left, Yi Ming began to think about his next move. He is now the young leader of the Qixin sect, and he holds a lot of power, so he must make good use of it. However, right now, he doesn't have many people available in his hands, except for the Blood Guards, there is only one big god. Thinking of Master Ha, he called him to his side and asked, God Ha, do you have a name? Ha Dashan said, my subordinate is unknown, people call me Ha Dashan. Well, I'll call you Ha San from now on, Yi Ming said, but he didn't explain why he called you Ha San. Ha San naturally had no objection, instead he said, thank you, young master, for giving me the name. Ha San, as the 9 demons of Tianyuan, you should be familiar with the other 9 demons, right? Can you recommend some of them to work by my side? Yi Ming asked, wanting to recruit more people. Ha San said, of course it can. But those guys are very arrogant, they may not be willing to come out of the mountain, and the subordinates can only try, and I dare not say that they will succeed. It's okay. Yi Ming said, tell them, I have a lot of benefits here, and whoever can make great contributions can get a longevity pill. Ha San nodded. Okay, this subordinate will do it now. No rush. One more thing. Yi Ming thought for a while and said, don't you know old man Tianji? Can you invite him too? Ha San scratched his head. Old man Tianji has a quirky personality, so I'm afraid he won't be able to invite you. Especially in recent decades, he has been researching a ghost thing, and he doesn't leave home, so it's hard to see him. Yi Ming pondered for a while, and said, let's do this. After you come back, I will go to see him in person. Ha San smiled wryly. The young master should not try it. The leader also went to invite him personally, but the other party didn't give face. Oh, father tried to invite him, but it didn't work. Yi Ming felt a little tricky. Ha San, old man Tianji once said that unless he completes the map of Tianji, he will never leave the level. What is the secret map? Yi Ming became interested. A set of martial artifacts, according to the old man Tianji, is his life's painstaking effort. Once completed, it will have incredible power. It can calculate the will of heaven and the heart of the people, knowing everything and knowing everything. Yi Ming was surprised. Isn't this somewhat similar to his 8-element arithmetic array and causal circle? Thinking of this, he relaxed instead, and said with a smile, I still want to visit him, maybe I can help him complete the map of the heavenly secrets. Ha San naturally didn't know Shi Duo's ability, said, in this case, I will accompany the young master for a walk. Ha San went to invite his companions. Yi Ming was just about to practice when a guard came to report, young master, the things from the master have arrived. Send things. Yi Ming was looking forward to it, and came to the main hall eagerly to see what this cheap father would give him. He just came to Qishanjiao, and a Teibai should give him a meeting gift because of his feelings and reason. As for what to give, he really couldn't guess.